It's the first thing you see in the morning and the last thing you see at night. A universe of content, perfectly tailored to you, delivered in an endless, mesmerizing stream. It's the digital heartbeat of a generation, a daily ritual for billions of us across the globe. But have you ever stopped scrolling just for a second and asked yourself the most fundamental question, how is all of this free? On one hand, you have an experience that costs you $0. On the other hand, you have the companies behind these apps, Meta and Google, valued at trillions of dollars, posting profits that rival the GDP of small countries. It doesn't add up. This isn't a charity, it's a business model, and it's one of the most successful and most misunderstood in human history. The truth is, these platforms aren't in the business of providing free entertainment. They are in the business of mining and selling the 21st century's most valuable resource, human attention. They've built a black box that converts your taps, swipes, and likes into billions of dollars. Today, we're going to open that box. So if you've ever felt like there's more going on behind your screen than you're being told, you're right. Stick with us as we decode the new playbook. And if you want more strategic intelligence on the digital world, make sure you're subscribed to GenShift. 1. The engine of attention, advertising as the core model. To understand how these platforms work, you first have to stop thinking of them as tech companies and start seeing them as architects of a new kind of marketplace, the attention economy. In this economy, the most valuable commodity isn't a product you can hold. It's your focus. It's a finite resource. There are only 24 hours in a day, and these platforms are locked in a zero-sum war for every possible second of your waking life. They aren't just competing with each other. They're competing with your work, your friends, your family, and even your sleep. So how do they win this war? They don't leave it to chance. They've engineered their platforms with a deep understanding of human psychology. The core mechanism is a principle known as intermittent variable rewards. Think of a slot machine. You pull the lever, not knowing if you'll win, and that unpredictability is what makes it so compelling. Social media works the same way. Every time you pull down to refresh your feed, you're pulling the lever. You don't know if you'll see a message from a friend, a viral video, or a post that gets 0 likes. That uncertainty triggers a release of dopamine in your brain, the chemical of anticipation, creating a powerful compulsion loop that keeps you coming back for more. This is supercharged by design features like the infinite scroll. By removing any natural endpoint, like the bottom of a web page or the last page of a magazine, the platforms eliminate the psychological cues that tell your brain it's time to stop. You enter a state of passive consumption, a flow state where time seems to disappear because you're chasing a finish line that doesn't exist. This masterful capture of individual attention is then amplified by an economic force called the network effect. The principle is simple. The value of the service increases for every user as more people join. A telephone is useless if you're the only one who has one. It becomes incredibly valuable when everyone you know has one. A Facebook with only 10 of your friends is a novelty. A Facebook that connects you to billions of people becomes a fundamental utility, almost impossible to leave. This creates a powerful economic moat, making it incredibly difficult for new competitors to challenge their dominance. This combination, addictive psychological design at the micro level and powerful network effects at the macro level, creates the ultimate product, a massive, aggregated, and predictable pool of human attention. And that product is then packaged and sold to the highest bidder. The numbers are staggering. In the second quarter of 2025 alone, Meta, the parent company of Instagram and Facebook, generated over $46 billion in advertising revenue. In that same period, Google's advertising machine brought in over $71 billion, with YouTube's ads contributing nearly $10 billion of that total. Meanwhile, TikTok is projected to clear $9.5 billion in US ad revenue this year. This isn't just a side business, it is the business, and this entire multi-billion-dollar engine runs on one specific type of fuel, your data. 2, the data machine, how you become the product. You've probably heard the saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. It's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, but what does it mean? It means that your data, every click, every view, every interaction is the raw material that fuels the advertising engine we just described. The process begins the moment you create a profile. You hand over explicit data, your name, age, location, and gender. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real value comes from the implicit behavioral data the platform collects as you use it. It tracks the videos you watch and for how long, the accounts you follow, the comments you write, the posts you linger on without even clicking, and the time of day you're most active. It even uses tools like tracking pixels to follow your activity after you've left the app, monitoring the other websites you visit and the products you browse. This mountain of raw data is then fed into sophisticated machine learning algorithms. These algorithms don't just store your information, they synthesize it. They identify patterns, make connections, and build an incredibly detailed digital profile, a kind of digital twin of you. This profile contains not just what you've explicitly told the platform, but what it can predict about you. It infers your hobbies, your political leanings, your relationship status, and even major life events, like if you're likely to move or change jobs soon. The goal isn't just to know what you did yesterday, it's to build a statistical model that can forecast what you're likely to buy tomorrow. Once created, these millions of detailed profiles are sorted into hyper-specific audience segments. An advertiser doesn't buy your specific data. Instead, they buy access to these segments. A sustainable fashion brand, for example, can tell Meta they want to show their ad to females ages 20 to 25 living in major U.S. cities who have shown an interest in environmentalism, veganism, and have recently purchased from competing eco-friendly brands. The platform then serves their ad directly into the feeds of users who match that complex profile, making the ad far more effective and therefore far more valuable. This entire process has operated in the shadows for years, but that's starting to change. As a generation of digital natives, Gen Z is increasingly skeptical and demanding transparency about how their data is used. This growing public awareness, coupled with landmark regulations like Europe's GDPR and the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, is forcing a shift. These laws establish new rules for the digital world, mandating that companies get your explicit consent before collecting your data and giving you the right to know what they have and to have it deleted. This has created an ongoing battle, forcing platforms to change their practices and impacting their bottom line, but the fundamental model remains. The machine is still running. But now the platforms are not just competing for your data, they're fighting over the most valuable asset in the new digital economy, the creators who command your attention. 3. The platform wars, different revenue strategies. The battle for your attention has opened up a new front, the war for creators. The creator economy is no longer a niche industry. It's a global economic force projected to be worth nearly $500 billion by 2027. Creators are the new media empires, the new tastemakers, and the new storefronts. And the platform that can attract and retain the best creators will ultimately win the future. To do this, each of the big three, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, has developed a unique economic playbook, a different strategy for how they and their creators make money. First, you have YouTube, the legacy partner for over a decade. Its business has been built on a simple, revolutionary promise to creators: you are a partner. Through the YouTube Partner Program, creators get a direct cut of the advertising revenue generated from their videos. For traditional long-form content, that split is 55% for the creator and 45% for YouTube, a model that has created a clear, albeit highly competitive career path. For shorts, they've adapted this model, giving creators 45% of revenue from a collective ad pool. Beyond ads, YouTube offers a suite of direct monetization tools like Super Chat and channel memberships, where creators keep a 70% share. YouTube's strategy is to be a long-term, stable home for creators, treating them as independent media businesses that build on its infrastructure. Then you have TikTok, the disruptor that is now pivoting its entire economic model. TikTok initially attracted creators with its Creator Fund, a large but fixed pool of money distributed based on views. However, this was often criticized for its low and unpredictable payouts, sometimes just pennies per 1,000 views. Recognizing this wasn't sustainable, TikTok launched its Creator Rewards program, offering a much higher and more dynamic payout for videos over a minute long, a clear incentive to create more substantive content. But the real revolution is its aggressive push into social commerce. With TikTok Shop, the platform is collapsing the distance between discovery and purchase. It's no longer just a place to watch videos, it's a place to buy, seamlessly integrating storefronts and shoppable content directly into the feed. TikTok's strategy is to transform itself from a simple content platform into a sprawling digital marketplace, taking a cut of every transaction it inspires. Finally, there's Instagram. As part of the Meta empire, it sits on one of the most powerful and mature advertising machines ever built. Its strategy is a hybrid, leveraging that massive ad business while rapidly building out creator-centric tools to fend off its rivals. Revenue comes from ads seamlessly integrated into the feed, stories, and reels. But to keep creators from leaving, it has introduced direct monetization features like subscriptions for exclusive content, badges for tipping during live streams, and gifts on reels. It also facilitates lucrative brand deals through its creator marketplace. Instagram's playbook is both defensive and offensive. It uses its scale and existing ad infrastructure to maintain dominance, while selectively adopting the best features from its competitors to ensure creators have little reason to look elsewhere. These three distinct strategies represent a fundamental shift. The war is no longer just for your eyeballs, but for the loyalty of the creators who have your trust. Conclusion. So the digital worlds you inhabit every day are not free. They are complex, powerful economies built on the currency of your attention and the raw material of your data. Billions are made by quantifying, predicting, and selling your future behavior. But understanding this playbook isn't a reason for cynicism. It's the foundation for conscious digital citizenship. Knowing how the system works gives you agency. It empowers you to make informed choices about your time, your data, and the platforms you choose to enrich with your presence. It transforms you from a passive user into an active participant in the digital economy. Now that you know you're the product, how does it change the way you scroll? What are your thoughts on data privacy and the future of the creator economy? Share your perspective in the comments below. We read all of them. For more deep dives that give you a strategic edge in the future of work, make sure you subscribe to GenShift and hit that notification bell.